Okay, so I'm going to talk about the short film opening to Dosage and the trials and tribulations, the investigative process, how everything happened. So I'm going to start off by doing a little director's commentary, just kind of the techniques and what everything means, and we'll go from there. So it starts off with the ticking of a watch, and we see right here that he's at the University of Florida, and so we know that he's a college student. The ticking is a little incessant, it's a little annoying, so, and the scratching of the papers as well, a little annoying. So something's off, and especially with the senses. So we see here that he has a desk too. It's very dirty, the tilt up is kind of slow and dramatic, so we know that something mysterious is happening. And the desk is very dirty. He's doing college homework. For those that didn't get the college reference, you can sort of tell here. And there's pills everywhere. So we know that he lives a messy life, stressed life, and he's got pills. So right off the bat, you can sort of tell that something is off with this character. Eventually, he throws the pencil and leaves in stress. And he goes outside. And I sped this up a little bit so it looks like he's more stressed than the actor actually was acting. That was just a struggle I went through. And there's a close-up there. And a trope, I guess you would say, of psychological thrillers are uncomfortable close-ups. When you get close up, I did a blog post about this. When you get close up to humans, we get uncomfortable and naturally a little fearful. And that's the whole purpose of this, to make the audience uncomfortable that you're so close there. So yeah, that was the purpose of that. And the reason I made him stressed was because stress is a trigger to schizophrenia, which is what the whole thing is about. Here, this pan, it's shaky and it's slow. It's eerie and mysterious. And I wanted to make that as if he was sort of being watched, as sort of he was being followed, part of his whole paranoid issue. And that's why there's steps, and that's why it's shaky. And this little pan is, it helps go let time pass and assume that time is passing by. And you see the title card, Dosage. I didn't want to put all the titles because I wanted to throw people right in there, right into the action, but keep it a little slight. But I wanted people just to know what it was called, and to just sort of let the eeriness of it all set in, and to let it kind of happen on its own. So we're going through here. It's very long. It's the ticking of the shaking of the medication, which is that sound that kind of helps speed it through and kind of create this sort of tension. It's dark, and then you see the red room, and it starts getting heavier. And now we know that time has passed, obviously, because now his room is all red, and he is in a bed. You'll see that he's laying on his bed. And a fun fact about how I made that room red, I just put red china paper on the light bulbs. So here we see him, uncomfortable close-up again, and now we hear the sound is going to be muffled, there's going to be a heartbeat, and there's going to be an uncomfortable close-up. Another one. So he's going to wake up, boom. And now there's a Dutch angle here. And Dutch angles are another representative trope of psychological thrillers. Those give the mental insanity, mental instability. That's what they're normally used for. I learned that from the movie 12 Monkeys and The Fisher King. So use that, but I want to keep it very slight. So that's why he goes back in there, because I want to make the hallucination sort of mysterious. I want to make the audience think, like, why is he hallucinating? What's going on? And then everything goes back to normal for him, but he's still, as you see, he's a little creeped out. He's weirded out that he's experiencing this. He goes, he gets his medication, and as soon as he gets his medication, we see the hallucination again. And the medication is there on the right third, and there's another Dutch angle. So the audience can infer that the medication is doing him wrong. The medication is what's causing this bad thing, these bad hallucinations. And they know that they're hallucinations because they don't last very long, and they're contrasted with the normal lighting of his room. So this is what helps the audience. So helps set the stage for the audience to understand that the pills aren't doing him any good, and that he does not like the pills. He's looking at them, and he's kind of blaming them for what's happening, and that's good, because that's good for the plot. He's schizophrenic, and he's not in the right state of mind, so he's naturally a little paranoid. So he decides to throw them away, and then he throws them away, and then he goes to his backpack, another indicator that he's in college if he didn't get it the first time, and he throws them away. And that's the whole premise. And I think it does a great job at satisfying, creating a mystery, and enhancing and giving people the general idea of what the plot will be. Some struggles that I had. This part right here, this is about four different shots, and the problem is that they all had different sound. They all had a different. There was a generator in the background, and the vibration was different every single shot. So there was no real fluidity. So I played around with iMovie a little bit, and I discovered that you can just fix the pitch right here. And you can also add audio effects, which I didn't know originally. So I made them all pitched down too, as you can see here. And then I played here. I made this all a little lower for every single clip, little shot, and that really helped the fluidity of the sound. And if you hear a little skip, that's I got it to the point where naturally it's just a skip because you're in a different perspective. Here, here I had a real big struggle because it was very difficult to get I filmed these 2 days apart, so it was difficult to redo the shot, get in the same spot, and it was difficult to actually make the twist of the Dutch angle. It seems like something simple, but the computer kind of mirrored imaged it to the point where it was just very hard to do it, because if I turned it one way, it would turn the other way once I put it into the computer. So that was just some little technical struggle that I was having a lot of issues with. I faced it the same here. I filmed the light ones the same night, and the red ones the other night. The red, as I said, I did with China paper. I was very happy with how that came out. It was one of the better lighting issues that I had. I had some lighting issues here. I mean, it was just a little dark, and it's visible. It's just, and I use it to my advantage. I got, there's some low-key lighting here. There's a lot of shadows on his face, which helps with the mysterious essence of it. But that's not originally how I intended. But I'm very glad that that ended up happening. Same thing here. I didn't intend to make that light so blue and so bright, but that's how it ended up happening, and I'm very glad that it did. So that's what I used for iMovie, and what I did sound-wise is I actually turned off the sound, and I decided to use GarageBand to input the sound there. I'd done a project where I had to do a scene with sound and no visuals, so I had already experienced it, and I learned a lot of things about GarageBand. For example, being able to make a sound only appear on one side of the speaker, one earphone, and not the other, which is something I used for the ticking of the watch in the beginning. So I inputted that, and I kept some of the sound originally from the iMovie, but most of it, as you can see right here in this green thing, is from GarageBand. And it took a lot of trial and error. It took a lot of trial and error and a lot of patience, but I eventually got the timing right, especially with the clock at the beginning. Getting the seconds right and the ticking right was difficult. And yeah, so the plot that I originally have planned. Originally, I had made him. I wanted to make it this guy. I wanted to make it a horror film. I wanted to make him hallucinate, something like little girls that were trying to kill him or something. And I didn't really have an excuse to make him hallucinate. So my friends just said, make him schizophrenic. It's easy. And the perception of it that I used to have, and that I see a lot of people having, especially in film, is that if a character's schizophrenic, that kind of gives you creative freedom to do whatever you want, to make him hallucinate whatever he wants, to make him act however you want him to act, because he has this disease that supposedly he cannot control. But upon further investigation of schizophrenia, I got to realize that, with proper medication, proper pills, proper treatment, you can live a pretty normal life with schizophrenia. But I still wanted to make a story with schizophrenia. I wanted to make it plausible and realistic. So that's why I made him a 19-year-old college student who had been recently diagnosed with the disorder, which would explain why he's not very good with his medication, or he doesn't really understand how to control the symptoms and whatnot. So that's why he wakes up in a daze, and he decides to throw away his medication because he thinks he's doing good. And then he goes to the doctor, sort of realizing, so he's sort of battling between the real and the non-real, and he goes to the doctor sort of feeling like, wow, that was a bad idea. But then the non-real kicks in, and he starts hallucinating that the doctor is evil. Another trope of psychological thrillers, that the doctor's evil and he runs away, and then the doctor calls the police, and then he thinks that the police are trying to get him, that they're trying to chase him, that they're trying to capture him or something. But really, they're just trying to help him out. So this would be told through his hallucinations, and in the end, you sort of realize that everything's okay. The doctor's actually just trying to help him, breaking that trope of normal Hollywood psychological thrillers, and that the police also want to help him. And he eventually ends up just living a normal life with medication, thus letting people know that, yeah, you can live a normal life when you're medicated and you have schizophrenia. And those people that I wanted to have that realization were about, in the age group, my target audience is about 18 to 25 years old, because that's when schizophrenia starts surfacing in people. And, I thought it would be much more relatable for them, going, wow, that can happen to me, that can happen to a friend, I'm at that age, I need to become more aware. So that's the target audience I planned. And I wanted to distribute it through YouTube, because, it's a short film. It's not going to go out into the theaters. It's good to put it on YouTube and then be able to advertise it through Instagram, YouTube, or Vine, which are very popular amongst people of that age group. They're very technological. They're very aware of how to use all of it. They're very, I guess you would say, in the loop. So it would really help to distribute and let the word spread that this was out there, and hopefully they would learn a little bit in an entertaining way. So through the struggles of using iTunes and filming with my phone and having to end up using GarageBand, as I had not planned to use the sound, to input the sound instead of just using what my camera came out. I mean, I'm very glad I had all these mistakes and all these trials of myself, because I got to learn more, and I got to learn a lot about GarageBand. I got to learn a lot about iMovie and how to use them in the future, and I'm very glad that ended up happening. And it will let me in the future use this as a base to become a better producer, a better creator, and hopefully to have better products in the future. And I like the fact that I had to do this project, because it was a great start. I'd never been behind the camera, and I never done the whole process. I had done little snippets, I'd done sound, and I had done video, but I never done sound and video, and I never made a plot, and I had never recorded it all in one thing, all in one project. So I'm glad I did it, and I hope I can grow from here. Thank you very much.